Hey guys, this is Goldenox again. So as you can see, I'm blonde again. And guess what? I've been to a hair salon here in Tokyo, just around the corner here in Kameido, close to the Kameido station. It's the Ash Salon. How was it at the hair salon? It was fabulous actually. I couldn't believe it. So I made an appointment, which was pretty easy because you can use I used the calendar function on my iPhone. And they did not understand me, I did not understand them, but it was easy to put numbers on the paper, so we arranged an appointment one day ahead, and then the next day I arrived at the hair salon, which is very funny because there was the owner basically who knew that I came for the cut and the color, and then there was his assistant. It was a young boy. I guess he was 17 or 18 years old. I don't know. Like, he was an assistant and he could speak like a little English, and it was so funny because he kept entertaining me those 2 hours at the hair salon, and basically I felt like at home with my personal hairstylist Daniel, which, by the way, hi Daniel, see what they have done to me. So it looks pretty amazing. I was fascinated how fast they were working, like, and they were working 2 of them like on my hair. In Vienna, I know Daniel works all by himself. I mean, there's other hairstylists at the salon where I usually go at home, but I have never seen at home 2 hairstylists working on one lady. So whatever, it was it was just a lot of fun. So the assistant kept entertaining me and brushing my hair and washing my hair. It was really an experience. Maybe I will talk in a separate vlog about it. It was really a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun, and I was really a little worried before I went there because I thought, okay, what if they mess up the color? I mean, they're used to Asian hair, which is very thick and black, and you know, like bleaching hair and making it blonde again. As you could see, like, my roots are dark brown. This is my natural hair, so I was a little bit afraid, but I think, as far as I can see now on this little tiny monitor here, I think I like it. I like it very much. So, and the bangs are back again. Like, okay, everything is perfect now. So, okay, let's come back to the vlog. Today is officially my last day in Tokyo. Tomorrow we're leaving at 10 a.m. It's the checkout time as far as I can remember. And then we're heading right to the airport, and we'll stay at the airport all day long because we have a lot of luggage with us, and our flight is going at, I believe, 8 something p.m. which will take us directly to Queensland, Australia. I'm very excited. But I'm a little sad too because I'm really in love with Japan. So we've been here now for 5 weeks. It's been awesome. I totally got into the culture. I believe I totally melded in. I feel like I'm a part of it. I can understand it. I can feel it somehow. I can feel the people. So I'm used to the system right now, and having to leave makes me kind of sad. But okay, we will have to go on. So, what is our vlog, today's vlog about? Today I want to talk to you about how to save money while traveling. So there will be one extra vlog on how to actually save money for a trip around the world, which will cover a lot of other details, but for today I want to talk about how to save money while you're traveling. And I want to cover 3 topics basically, which are very important while traveling. So one will be accommodations, where to stay, where to live. Then the second will be food. How to save money on food actually while you're traveling. Is there even a possibility to save money on food while you're traveling? And then the third one will be transportation, which is another huge part of traveling. You will spend a lot of time on trains, on planes, on ships sometimes, on the subway, the metros, whatever you want to call them. So these are the 3 things that I want to cover, and let's just jump right in. So one tip that I can give you for all 3 of them. So accommodations, transportation, and then food will be do your research. So this, I know this is not it's not a mind-blowing news now, but do your research. I have seen a lot of people traveling who do not do their research, and I believe this is very important. So you have to sit down, take that computer, go to Google or whichever search engine you're into, and then just look for the right accommodation. Look where you can save money. And when it comes to accommodation, look for different websites where they offer discounted accommodation. So, for example, we've been now on the road for 2.5 months. We booked a lot of stuff over booking.com, over agoda.com, which is really recommendable because the problem is you pay ahead and it's not refundable. But nevertheless, it's way cheaper to book hotels over these two websites. So these are the two that you would stick to. And then of course there's a lot, I believe there must be a bunch of other sites where you can get discounted accommodation, like hotels or youth hostels, whatever you prefer. And the question is always, how do you want to travel? Do you want to stay in hotels, 5-star hotels, 3-star hotels? Do you want to travel and live in youth hostels? Do you want to have an apartment for yourself? It depends. I think it's a matter of personal preference. Like for example, we as a couple, we prefer to book private apartments. How do we do this? Most of the time we book Airbnb, which is really, it is so convenient. You go and register, and you can register, I believe, via Facebook or via Twitter, I'm not sure, but I think I registered over Facebook. So it's very easy. You register and then you can type in the city where you want to go, and there will be a bunch of accommodations, shown, including reviews, including not only reviews on the accommodation itself, but there will be reviews on how the host actually serviced you. So I think this is very helpful, and this is what we were doing now. Most of the time we stayed in our Airbnb accommodations. Like this right now, this little cozy, little beautiful, very, very clean apartment here in Tokyo. We booked it over Airbnb. Not only is it wonderful, like all in all it's just a good choice. It was cheap, like we pay 49 euros each night, which is very cheap for Tokyo. I do have to admit it's very cheap for Tokyo, and this will be basically, I believe, 55 to 60 US dollars. So as for you as an orientation. So again, what is the tip here? Do your research, yeah? Websites, Airbnb, of course there is couch surfing. If you don't have too much money, you can always couch surf. Though I have little experience with it myself, but I have two very good friends who love couch surfing. You can read thousands of reviews on those web pages. You can email actually not only the host, but you can email a lot of the previous guys that stayed at this accommodation. So only to reassure you if the accommodation was okay. So I believe this is quite an option. And then what else could you do when it comes to accommodation? You could woof. I don't know if you've heard about it. So it's a worldwide organization of organic farms, and what's so special about it is you can work on this farm and you won't get paid, but in return for your hard work, which actually is not hard work because you have to put in like a couple of hours, like 4 or 5 hours most of the time, and you can choose which farm you want to work on. Is it animals that you want to work with? Is it a garden? Is it a vegetable garden? Whatever you want. So you choose the organic farm, and in return you will have accommodation and food for free, which is, I think, optimum. We haven't done it so far. We were planning on doing a trip to Hokkaido in Japan in order to start our wolf experience, but then it was very cold in Hokkaido, so we said, okay, no, we don't want to do it right now. We will come back sometime later. So tomorrow we're heading to Australia, and wolf is certainly going to be a part of this Australian experience, I am sure. So these are the 3 or 4 options how you can save money actually on accommodation. And then What else is this? So we said accommodation and then transportation. When it comes to transportation, may it be how to travel from country to country, from continent to continent, or how to travel within a country like in Japan. Though it is a very tiny country, yeah, when you look at the map, there's huge distances between the cities. So how to travel cheaply. And again, what can you do? Research. Please do your research. That is the most important thing. That is the really, really, really most important thing. Do your research, sit down, Google it all, yeah? In some cases, so we're making a trip around the world, half a world. I explained this in my first video. And what is the clue there? Making a trip around the world, sometimes it depends on your itinerary. So I'm not sure which route you will take. So there's certain organizations like Star Travel, Star Alliance, you will all know them, you can Google them and get more, who offer all around the world tickets. So when we were planning this trip, and we've been planning it for quite a long time, firstly we thought, okay, why not take this all around the world ticket? Those organizations who offer such kind of tickets, they're based on the distance that you want to travel. We will be traveling half the world. As I told you, we're going to exclude South America, Latin America, and Africa because we cannot afford it. That's the way it is. But the rest will travel by plane. And what we found out after long research nights actually is that booking single tickets, plane tickets, is way cheaper than buying this all around the world ticket, because the all around the world ticket would have probably in our case cost like about 5,000 euros, which I don't know how much it is in US dollars, but I believe 5,500, which is really a lot of money. In some cases it might be very useful to book this all around the world ticket, no matter which organization you choose. It depends on where you want to go and which distance you want to travel. So again, do your research. And then what we can recommend personally while traveling within a country, look for the cheapest options. Like a lot of people go for the tourist options. They go to the tourist information. They will of course recommend you most of the time very expensive tourist options like certain bus lines or train lines or whatever. Like for example in Japan there was this option to purchase abroad, so you cannot purchase it here in Japan, but to purchase it abroad, the railway ticket, which is very famous, and it costs there's three different options for this Japan railway ticket. So you can choose 1 week, 2 weeks, or 3 weeks, which is nonsense for us because in our case we didn't know how long we're going to stay. We knew it would be a month, probably longer. So now we have 5 weeks so far, and this railway ticket would have never paid off in our situation because for 3 weeks it is quite expensive, costs approximately 420 or 440 euros, I'm not sure, which is approximately 500 US dollars, which again is very expensive. So we were ahead, you know, researching, doing our research, Googling, and we found out that by traveling by local buses, like normal bus lines, there's overnight travels by bus, or you can use just regular local bus lines, which are very cheap. So in the end, if we had purchased those railway tickets ahead, we would have paid 1,000 US dollars ahead for railway tickets, which would have only served us for 3 weeks, while now we have been traveling 5 weeks through all of Japan, and guess how much we spent? We were traveling by bus, just by bus. So the name of this bus line was WillerExpress. I will put it down in the info box below. It cost altogether $200, which is really, it's a fifth of the price that we would have paid if we had chosen this railway ticket. So watch out, do your research. I'm repeating myself, I know, but this is how you're gonna do it. And then when you're in the cities, look out for cheap ways. Like in Japan, transportation is very expensive. So we were looking for other possibilities, and in most countries like in China, in Japan now, we would rent a bicycle on some days, so we did that, which is really cool because on the one hand you get to see a lot of stuff. You can really drive long distances, which you could never walk. If you were walking, you would walk like for hours. With a bicycle, it's so much faster. And it is a kind of a workout, and plus it's fun. Who doesn't want to ride bicycles? I mean, it's really, so it was really kind of an experience. I think this is really a cheap way of conquering a city, of conquering a country, you know. I mean, you could do it all by bicycle if you have the muscle tissue for it. I don't, but you know, on some days it really paid off. And most of the time we were walking. People walk, yeah. Do not go everything by metro. Of course, sometimes you cannot avoid it to take the metro, and then you will have to pay for it. Especially in Tokyo. Tokyo is like a huge city. You cannot walk everything, and sometimes you cannot do everything by bicycle, especially because the rent, if you rent all of the days, probably will be very expensive. So much for transportation. And then, how to save money on food. Now you might think, food. I mean, there's people, I don't understand how those people exist, but there is actually people out there who are not as much a foodie as my darling and I are. So we're really into food. We love food, and most people who travel are into food because they want to experience traditional cuisine, they want to taste a lot of different stuff. So when it comes to food and how to save money on food, there's again a couple of tips. Do your research, go on Google. Google where to find cheap supermarkets, where to do your groceries, where do locals go and buy their groceries. So that is one thing to do. And then of course, if you have a kitchen, if you're staying at a hostel, or if you're staying like we do now at an apartment of Airbnb, it's easy for you to cook. Like, you don't need so many ingredients, but if you know where to buy your groceries, you can cook. It might be cheaper. In Asia, we have experienced that food is very cheap, so you can go to restaurants and they will not charge you much. It is very, I'd say, it's very convenient to travel those countries because you don't have to pay so much for groceries. And then there's a third option, which we have found out now over these past weeks, which Mike actually called food hunting. So what is food hunting, you might say? We created this term actually because it came up to us. I think food hunting is just walking endless kilometers and looking for great food. Maybe restaurants, maybe stores, grocery stores. I wouldn't do food hunting on its own, but we did it sometimes when we were anyways strolling through the city without a plan, without a certain aim, and we came across grocery stores and all different type of stores, little restaurants, you know, where the food was very cheap and affordable. So this might be an option as well. So far you know how to get along, how to save money while traveling, and keep in mind it's all about having fun. Sometimes it's not all about getting it cheap, but sometimes it's about enjoying yourself. This is what we keep telling ourselves all the time. This is the reason why we went for a very expensive sushi night out. But to tell you something, it was really amazing. We got to stare at the cook's hands, you know, while he was slicing the fish. Where would you do such? It was really an experience, yeah. So where else would you do such a thing, you know? If you can get fresh sushi in Japan, just go for it. Or wherever you are staying, just go for that special experience. Sometimes you have to treat yourself. And then, of course, we all have to save money while we're traveling because it's not raining down in the skies. I hope this video was helpful. And yeah, if you want to hear me talk about certain topics that you are very much interested in, let me know. Write me an email, post it on Instagram. It's goldetta on Instagram, it's Goldilocks Music on Twitter, and I have a Facebook page which is basically focused on my music, but you can go there as well and hit the like button if you want to. And then see you next time, and until then, enjoy yourself and have a lot of fun, and see you. Bye. That's why you're going clockwise. Who would pay so much money for banana?